Do you like pumpkin? Do you like cheesecake? Have I got the recipe for you? It's my pumpkin cheesecake. Full of fall spices, big pumpkin flavor with a creamy filling that did not crack. Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. This pumpkin cheesecake will be ready in a snap, so let's get started. First off, we're whipping up a really easy graham cracker crust. So into the bowl of your food processor or a large plastic bag, if you're gonna smash that by hand, add 13 graham crackers or 200 grams. You could use ginger snaps, Biscoff, anything you like that's kind of a crisp cookie. 1/4 cup of brown sugar packed firmly, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and just for good luck, a pinch of salt. Let's add the top on and whiz it up. Once you have a nice crumbly mixture, you're gonna drizzle in 4 tablespoons or about 60 grams of regular butter. If you're using salted butter, don't add in that little blessing of salt earlier. This delicious concoction is ready to go into our springform pan. You could basically use any size springform pan for this. This is like a 10-inch, but you could go all the way to 11, use an 8 or 9, and it'll be fine. Is this a 10-inch? This is a 9-inch pan, so you could use a 10-inch, you could use an 11-inch. The only difference is you'll have a thinner cheesecake. I like mine to be nice and thick. Dump the mixture out into your springform pan, and if you're using a food processor, you're gonna have like a little pool of butter on the bottom, so just fluff that into the rest over here. Now use anything with a flat bottom and just press it down. I love this springform pan, but the one annoying thing is this. It's very bouncy. And then for the edge, we're just gonna push it up just a little bit. Not even all the way up, halfway up is fine. We're gonna bake this at 350 for about 10 minutes or until it's a little bit more golden and really fragrant. You'll smell wonderful things coming out of the oven, and that means it is ready to come out. So into the oven you go. My crust is golden brown, totally done. I'm setting it aside to cool. In the meantime, let's make the filling. It's so quick and easy. We're gonna start off with 4 packages of room temperature cream cheese. That is 2 pounds. 3/4 cup of sour cream as well. And we're gonna give this a little bit of time with the whisk attachment to really cream together and get nice and smooth. Plop it down, lock it off, and mix on medium. You can tamp it down if you need to as well. One thing that you don't want with any kind of cheesecake, including a pumpkin cheesecake, is little bits of cream cheese or sour cream that are not mixed in. It's gonna give you not that perfect silky mouthfeel, and it could lead to cracks too. Once your mixture is nice and creamy, it's time to add the sugars in. So to this delicious concoction of cream cheese and sour cream, I'm adding 200 grams or 1 cup of granulated sugar, and 3/4 cup or 150 grams of packed dark brown sugar. This will give you a really nice kind of caramel taste. I like to just use my fingers and sprinkle it in, because if there's any little rock of brown sugar, which just happens in the package, I want to smush it up. The downside is you definitely have to wash your hands after doing this, but the upside is less lumps. Right now you can add in about half a teaspoon of salt and then give it a mix. You want a good homogeneous mixture. Let the sugar start dissolving too. You want to like kind of rough the sugar up a bit. Okay, let it go. Whoa, I want to look inside of here. This is like silky heaven inside of this. But as you know, unmixed nonsense all on the bottom, so scrape the bowl down. Continue mixing on low. We don't want to whip too much air in here, but we do want it nice and smooth. Much mixing later, this is all done. Silky smooth, no lumps, and the sugar is dissolved. It's perfect for a cheesecake. Now we're gonna add in 5 room temperature eggs, slowly, one at a time while mixing, and yes, I will scrape the bowl down halfway through. And just take your time, there's no rush. Okay. When you make a cheesecake, you want to have that smooth mixture, a low bake, and you're golden. It's really easy. You just have to follow a couple rules. Okay, add the rest of the eggs in, and then it's on to the next step. Once your eggs are all incorporated, we're gonna sprinkle in 2 tablespoons of flour. And when I do this, I like to use like a little tiny baby sifter and just sift it in as it's going, like this. But you can give it a head start. It just helps there be not any lumps of flour. Oh my God, horrible syntax. Who am I? Okay, Sprinkle the rest in. Now, after your flour is all in there, we can add in the pumpkin puree. Hello, this is a pumpkin cheesecake. It needs that pumpkin puree. And I'm not using pumpkin pie filling. It is the 100% pumpkin. 1 cup of pumpkin puree, in you go. Once the pumpkin's in there, it's time to add your spices. And by the by, I'm using all of my favorite fall spices, but you could just use cinnamon, or you could use 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin spice mixture if that's what you have in their pantry. 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, in you go. 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of my favorite allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. And finally, I'm gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg. I love using fresh nutmeg. It makes all the difference. Now we're gonna mix this again until it is nice and smooth. While that's going, we can add in 2 teaspoons or 10 ml of a nice vanilla. Vanilla, pumpkin, spices, this is my idea of heaven. Okay, this is looking great. I'm gonna give this the last, I promise it's the last scrape down. Let this run for a couple minutes on low. Come back to it in a second. Okay, thank you so much, mixer. This is really, look how smooth this is. Perfect, so nice, and the smell is divine. All right, we're ready to pour this into our prepared springform pan. Let's just put this away. We're gonna bake this in a water bath or a bain-marie because this is the most surefire way to not have a crack and have a beautiful smooth cheesecake. Place this into a roasting dish, deep please. And now pour the batter in. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. So I'm using a slightly smaller pan than I normally would. I don't know why. I have some left over. I'm gonna make mini cheesecakes and freeze them for later. Just put them in a smaller ramekin or springform pan. This is gonna go into the oven, and you're gonna see that we'll pour in hot water after it's in the oven into the roasting pan, not here. Okay, so here's the deal. That cheesecake was in the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Then I turned the oven off and left it there for a full hour, door closed. Then I remembered it and I finally took it out of the oven. So let me show you what happened. This, by the way, is how I always wrap my cheesecakes if they're in the fridge. I put a piece of paper towel and then a little bit of plastic on top. It won't dry out, but any of the condensation won't drip back onto the cheesecake and mar the surface, which I care about if it's perfect. So that water bath is a really great way to get just a flawless cheesecake top. This is exactly what you want it to look like. We're gonna open it up now. Look how pretty that is, I love that. And we're gonna remove it and just transfer it to a little cake stand. So just run a knife around the edge, slide it, and center it. Now it's ready to decorate. You can enjoy this delicious cake as is, but we're gonna top it off with a little bit of whipped cream, so let's whip it up. Transfer the whipped cream to a piping bag fitted with a star tip. I'm using an 846, a large closed star. It's my favorite tip. Any extra whipped cream can be piped directly into your mouth. So I'm just gonna give them a little bit of a squiggle as I pipe. Really simple. Finish your cheesecake off with just a little sprinkle of cinnamon on top of the whipped cream for contrast. Okay, ready to cut and enjoy. This is a beautiful fall treat that you can enjoy any time of the year. This cheesecake has a beautiful cloud-like consistency. I cannot wait to take a bite. But first, if you like this recipe, check out my pumpkin playlist. All my favorite pumpkin recipes in a playlist for you. Now it's time for a bite. That melts in your mouth like a cloud of pumpkin and spice. Oh, you've got to try this recipe. If you like my videos, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next pumpkin video.